Somewhere in America right now, a type 2 diabetic is standing at a pharmacy counter being told the drug that keeps his blood sugar from spiking is out of stock again, because the same shot he needs to survive became the hottest weight loss accessory in the country. That drug is semaglutide, sold as Ozempic for diabetes and as Wegovy for weight loss, and researchers estimate a month's supply may cost under $5 to manufacture, possibly under $1. In the United States, the list price runs around $936. Hold on to that gap, because everything that follows lives inside it. Here's the part nobody puts in the cheerful commercials with the dancing actors. The same UK National Health Service that buys this drug pays roughly $92 a month for the weight loss version. Germany pays around $140. America pays a markup so steep it looks like a typo, and a foreign company based in Denmark is the one collecting it. So why does the richest country on earth choose to pay nearly 10 times what the British pay for the identical molecule? That question has an answer, and it is uglier than simple price gouging. Between January 2021 and December 2023, semaglutide prescriptions in America jumped 442%, according to JAMA Health Forum analysis. That is a stampede. And it makes perfect commercial sense once you see the size of the market, because the Centers for Disease Control reports that over 70% of American adults are now classified as overweight or obese. Picture how that looks on a spreadsheet. 7 out of 10 people, all carrying a condition that a once-weekly injection can quietly soften away. This is not a prediction. According to a 2025 KFF poll, about 1 in 8 American adults say they are taking a GLP-1 drug like Ozempic, and nearly 1 in 5 have tried one. The customers are not coming. They are already at the counter. And this whole story comes down to one question. How did America turn hunger itself into a subscription you can never stop paying? Let's be clear about something up front, because the rest of this only matters if you understand it. This drug is the real thing. It is a GLP-1 agonist. It mimics a hormone your intestine makes to tell your brain the stomach is full. It slows how fast that stomach empties, and the hunger you used to feel just goes quiet. People lose serious weight fast. For people with diabetes, and for some people carrying dangerous amounts of weight, it can be genuinely life-changing medicine. And that is exactly the problem. It works so well that it stops feeling like medicine and starts feeling like the answer. People reach for it instead of changing how they actually live, what they eat, how they move, the small daily habits. And that is when the trap snaps shut. Because here's the catch nobody says out loud. Ozempic is powerful medicine, and powerful medicine is alone against your own body. It does not erase the problem, it borrows against it. Like alcohol lends you a good night and charges you the morning, this drug quiets the hunger now and leaves the real problem sitting there, untouched, with the tab still running. A salvation you have to buy again every single month stops being a cure and starts being a subscription. The longer you stay on it, the larger the debt, and the science shows you exactly what comes due on the day you finally try to stop. To see it, meet Sarah. She is a composite stitched together from millions of real ones. Call her a 34-year-old middle school teacher in Ohio. Her insurance flatly refused to cover Ozempic because she used it off-label for weight loss rather than the diabetes the FDA approved it for. So she paid for it out of her own pocket. She did the math at her kitchen table, $12,000 a year, more than her car payment. And Sarah is not the exception. She is the rule. Millions of people quietly draining their savings and maxing out their credit cards, all to rent back a feeling of control over their own bodies. To rent back the right to not be hungry. For the first year, it worked beautifully. The constant background noise of hunger switched off, the weight came down, and then her savings ran out because $12,000 a year is not sustainable for anyone living on a paycheck. She stopped the injections. What happened next was not bad luck. It was written into the science before she ever filled her first prescription. The Step 1 trial extension, published in Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism, followed people who came off semaglutide. On average, they regained about 2/3 of the weight they had lost within a single year. The hunger that had gone silent flooded back louder because the drug never repaired whatever made them gain weight in the first place. It only muted the signal. Take away the mute button, and the volume returns at full blast. This is the debt coming due. And the weight that comes back is not always the same weight that left, which is where the biology turns cruel. When you lose pounds this fast, your body does not surrender fat alone. It also burns through lean muscle, because rapid calorie restriction forces it to break down protein tissue for energy, and the drug does nothing to protect it. Muscle is the engine that burns calories at rest, so when the pounds return, they tend to return as fat onto a frame that now has less of the tissue it needs to keep that fat off. A person can quit the drug and end up metabolically worse off than the day they started, with a slower engine and a louder appetite at the same time. That is the loan, with interest. But regaining the weight is the gentle version of what can go wrong. Remember, Sarah is a composite, a stand-in for millions, and in her story, she gets off lightly. Real life does not always offer that mercy. The people behind the statistics are not characters you can edit, and some of them pay a price Sarah never had to. Jaclyn Bjorklund is one of them. A real 44-year-old woman from Louisiana, she says the drug left her with gastroparesis, a condition where the stomach is paralyzed and stops emptying. She described uncontrollable vomiting so severe she lost teeth, and the paralysis did not resolve when she quit. Her case became the lead lawsuit in a federal litigation that has now grown to more than 3,500 consolidated claims. Patients alleging stomach paralysis and bowel obstruction that lingered long after the last injection. The companies deny these claims, and causation is still being fought in court. Researchers are even debating a possible link to a rare but serious form of vision loss flagged by a 2024 JAMA ophthalmology study. The point is not that the science is settled. The point is that the debate is happening now, after millions of injections. The whole sales pitch rests on one quiet assumption, that you can always walk away. The promise was never just weight loss, it was that the exit door stays open. But for a growing number of people now in court, that door has jammed. The drug may be out of their system, yet the damage it left behind is not, and a paralyzed stomach does not care that you stop paying. That is what they were never warned about. You can quit the injections, but you cannot always quit the consequences. Sarah did everything the culture told her to do. She found the easy button, she paid for the easy button, and the moment she could no longer afford it, her body sent the invoice. That is the business model working exactly as designed. So how did an entire industry convince millions of people to pay a monthly ransom just to keep their own hunger quiet? And who built that trap in the first place? Look at the financial scoreboard first. By 2024, Novo Nordisk, the maker of this drug, reached a market value of roughly $570 billion, becoming worth more than the entire 2022 economic output of Denmark, the country it lives in, which clocked in around $400 billion. A pharmaceutical firm grew larger than its own nation on the back of an injection that costs under $5 to make, sold for nearly $1,000. In September 2024, the company's CEO, Lars Fruergaard Jørgensen, was hauled in front of Senator Bernie Sanders and asked to explain the American price gap. He did not have an answer that survived daylight. Now rewind, because the demand that made this fortune did not appear by accident. Imagine a slot machine engineered by people who studied exactly how your brain decides to walk away from the table, then quietly remove that signal, so you never do. That is what the food industry did to the human appetite, starting in the late 20th century when food scientists at giant conglomerates began chasing what they called the Bliss Point. They tuned sugar, salt, and fat to the precise ratio that lights up your reward system while never letting you feel satisfied enough to stop. These ultra-processed foods now make up nearly 60% of the daily calories American adults eat. They are engineered to be calorie-dense, hyper-palatable, and easy to keep eating before your natural fullness can ever catch up. The sense of satiety that humans evolved over millions of years got quietly overridden, profitably, one shelf-stable snack at a time. One industry disabled your body's off switch, and then a second industry showed up selling you an injection to turn it back on. And there is the symmetry that should make you furious. One set of corporations spent decades engineering food that breaks your sense of fullness, and another now sells a drug that artificially restores the exact function the food destroyed. This is not one secret group in a single room. It is something simpler and harder to fight. The incentives of two giant industries lining up perfectly. The conditions that drive the disease and the business model that sells the cure belong to the same broad economy, and you are billed at both ends because the food turns you into a patient and the drug keeps you one. From a balance sheet point of view, a genuinely healthy population is a catastrophe. A person who eats real food, sleeps, moves, and never needs the injection is a customer who walks away and never comes back. So the entire structure has every financial reason to keep you exactly where you are, hungry and treatable. Which raises the real question. If healthy people are bad for business, what does this machine do to make sure you can never leave? Sarah's insurer was one of the ones that said no. To understand why, you have to see the machine has 3 gears. The first gear is scarcity. From early 2022 through late 2024, the FDA listed Ozempic and Wegovy on its official drug shortage list. Demand from people chasing weight loss outran supply, so the patients this drug was actually invented for, type 2 diabetics, were left scrambling for a medicine their doctor prescribed to control a dangerous chronic disease. A drug people depend on got reclassified, in practice, as a luxury good for whoever could pay cash fastest. That diabetic from the start of this story was not a hypothetical. He was collateral damage. The second gear is the middleman nobody voted for. Pharmacy benefit managers, companies like CVS Caremark and Express Scripts, sit between the drug maker and your insurance and negotiate prices in secret. Imagine buying a car where the dealer, the bank, and the insurance company all get paid more when the sticker price goes up. That is roughly how this chain works. The drug maker sets a sky-high list price. then privately hands the benefit manager a fat rebate to win a good spot on the approved list, and the manager keeps a slice. So the higher the price climbs, the bigger everyone's hidden cut. Nobody in that chain has any reason to push the number down. Compare that to Europe, where National Health Services negotiate as a single buyer for an entire country and will simply walk away and not stock the drug if the price is too high. That threat caps the price near the cost of making it. America has no single buyer and no walkaway power, just 3 layers of corporations each taking a cut while the bill flows downhill to you. The third gear is forced abandonment. The moment the bill got too heavy, the system started shoving people off the lifeboat. A 2025 review of 5 large insurers found approval rates for weight loss prescriptions collapsed from the 50 to 70% range down toward 25%. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan cut coverage for obesity entirely in 2025. And it was not just insurers. The University of Texas System and the health giant Ascension both stripped GLP-1 weight loss coverage out of their employee plans in 2024 because covering their own workers was breaking the budget. So the same people who were told this drug was the answer, who played by every rule and even had insurance, opened their statements 1 month to find the coverage gone and the full $1,000 tab waiting. That is the engine that feeds the gray market. And the plan from here is expansion, stated openly in investor presentations. Novo Nordisk is racing to release a daily pill because a pill is easier to start and harder to quit than a weekly shot. The industry is laying groundwork to reach children. The global market for these GLP-1 drugs is projected to climb from about $24 billion today to more than $61 billion by 2035. That is a permanent customer base being built one age bracket at a time. And for everyone priced out of the brand name, telehealth mills and compounding pharmacies now ship unregulated semaglutide for around $300 a month, sweeping up the lower income buyers the official system rejected. So a medical apparatus that lobbies against regulating the food itself somehow builds endless infrastructure to bill someone, anyone, forever. How is a normal person supposed to survive a squeeze where one industry hands them the poison and the other rents them the antidote? The markup on this drug tells you everything. A medicine that costs a few dollars to make is sold for nearly $1,000, and that gap alone tells you the priority was never your waistline. There is a fortune in treating the sickness and a loss in preventing it, so prevention loses every time. So let's be clear about what this drug actually is. Ozempic is not some magic chemical. It is a synthetic copy of a hormone your own body already makes, called GLP-1, the one that tells your brain you are full. When you inject it, you are not fixing your body. You are overriding it from the outside, the same way someone injecting testosterone is overriding what their body should be producing on its own. You have seen those guys. For a small number of people with a real medical condition, that override is a genuine tool, and that is fine. But for the vast majority, the thing that decides the outcome is not the needle. It is the lifestyle. What you eat decides it. How you move and how you sleep decides it. And here is what nobody selling you this wants to say out loud. Everything has a price. You will not just pay in money. You may very well pay with your health, handing your body over to a drug that is still not fully understood, one that was a treatment for the sick before it got marketed to everyone like it was harmless apple juice. This is not an ad showing you the wonders of Ozempic. It is the opposite. Remember Sarah, off the drug, watching the weight crawl back onto a weaker frame. The rebound was never proof she was weak. It was the predictable recoil of stopping a drug that was only ever silencing a signal. This was never a war on your willpower. Expecting raw discipline to beat an ecosystem built by billion-dollar food chemists and a half-trillion-dollar drug industry is a rigged game, and the House wrote the rules. So this is the choice the whole machine is built to hide from you. The easy button, the comfortable monthly injection that lets everything stay exactly as it is, while the cost quietly compounds in your body and your bank account. Or the hard truth, that there are no easy buttons. Taken as a shortcut, this drug does not solve the problem. It just postpones it and keeps billing you month after month for every day you put it off. So ask yourself one honest question. When you take that shot, what are you really doing? Are you making yourself healthy? Or are you tricking your own body, renting back an off switch that someone else got rich breaking? Because the one thing this machine cannot survive is a person who no longer needs what it is selling. A dependent patient is profitable. A self-sufficient human being is a threat. Decide which one you want to be. If this opened your eyes, subscribe. And in a few seconds, another video will appear on your screen. See you there.
2/3 come back the year you say goodbye. They broke the off switch, then sold you the fix. 70% caught in the same trick. A dependent patient pays. A free man walks away.